Well, we punch up the list here on the board, and obviously these transactions are coming fast and furious, and this whole thing obviously started with Derek Carr going to the New Orleans Saints. And oddly, Jameis Winston, who was about to be released, took a pay cut from 12 mil down to 5 and has agreed to be the backup because he likes New Orleans coaching staff. He's going to stay with the Saints as the number 2 guy. I thought he would have gone on the market and tried to rent himself somewhere else as somebody's starter. So that's kind of a bit of a surprise there, but Derek Carr is the first one. Jimmy Garappolo never got to Houston, and everybody that I had networked with said he's going to Houston because of coaching relationships with D'Amico Ryans, who had been in San Francisco. He didn't. He turned left at the stop sign, and he went to the Raiders. They gave him a 3 year, $67 million contract. The guy, he's won a lot of games. Guy's had 3 major injuries. That's a big issue. He's not playing behind a great offensive line, but obviously they got all the skilled people around them. So that's kind of intriguing that they franchise tag Josh Jacobs. They've got the wide receivers. They did trade Darren Waller, who's had a lot of injuries the last couple of years. He's gone, and that was a bit of a surprise move. But Garappolo will be the trigger man for the Raiders there in Las Vegas. Tampa Bay, evidently they've closed on a deal with Baker Mayfield, probably a 1-year rental. They've gotten rid of so many players in Tampa. It's just going to be a substandard team, I think. But Baker Mayfield gets a bit of a lease on life there. Washington signs Jacoby Brissett. He's the ultimate journeyman quarterback who can be productive. He did a decent year during the Deshaun Watson suspension in Cleveland. And, prior to that, he was a carryover quarterback after Andrew Luck left the Indianapolis Colts. So they see things in him for Brissett going into Washington to kind of help the Washington Commanders franchise. The other guys that are moving, Taylor Heineke has been productive as a backup in Washington. He's going to Carolina. I don't think he's going to start because I got Desmond Ridder from the University of Cincinnati. But obviously Atlanta's made a lot of changes to their team. Andy Dalton wound up in Carolina. He once upon a time was a star in Cincinnati. Andy Dalton has gone to Carolina, probably as the insurance policy for whomever the number 1 draft pick is going to be with Carolina. And I think he's a proven pro. Denver wound up with Jarrett Stidham, who Josh McDaniels weeks ago was saying, we really like this guy. We started him last 2 games of the season. All of a sudden, he's out, and he goes to Denver to be part of that whole rebirth of Bronco football under Sean Payton. 49ers, at the last minute, get Sam Darnold. So he's the only veteran quarterback with any experience. The other 2 quarterbacks are coming off surgery. I don't know whether Darnold's going to be a starter or whether it's going to be Trey Lance, but Darnold is a 1-year rental in San Francisco. And then Mike White, who I thought was pretty productive as a young guy with the New York Jets, winds up going to Miami as the insurance policy to Tua Tagovailoa. So those are the quarterbacks. Virtually all the marquee quarterbacks have now come off the board in the first 2.5 days of NFL free agency. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, Sam Darnold has always been interesting to me because when he was at USC, everyone thought he was going to have a great NFL career, and he's never quite panned out. I mean, what seems to be the problem?
Well, bad teams. He went to the Jets, really bad franchise, got beat up, got hurt. Went to Carolina. Maybe he was part of the group that would try to replace Cam Newton, got banged up, got hurt, didn't stay on the field, didn't play well when he was on the field. I mean, Carolina was so bad, they brought Baker Mayfield in after he had gotten bounced out of Cleveland. Sometimes you relocate and you hit it with the right coaching staff and the right job responsibility and the right format, and suddenly you're playing better. So we'll see. I just think, historically in the NFL, John, bad teams draft at the top of the board. They draft quarterbacks. Those quarterbacks go in because they're on bad teams. They get beat up, and a chunk of time their career does not amount to a hill of beans. So we'll see if this lease on life in San Francisco helps him, if it's positive. Everybody seems to like him as a student of the game, but just haven't been able to stay healthy.
It's very interesting to me. But I think if he goes to San Francisco, you got to think Purdy is going to be number 1, right?
But Purdy's out for 6 to 9 months with the elbow surgery.
Okay.
When they open their ATAs in a month and a half, it'll be Trey Lance and it'll be Sam Darnold. Purdy won't be there till the end of training camp, and then who knows what kind of setbacks he has when you get into the regimen of throwing as many passes in practice as a quarterback has to throw. How does the surgically repaired elbow respond? Now, the thing that's good about Brock Purdy, they did not do, quote, Tommy John reconstructive surgery. They did what they call brace surgery, which is a lesser surgical procedure, and you can strengthen the elbow within 3 months. So he may be in training camp, and then we'll have to see how he holds up to the regimen of having to throw as many passes in practice as need be. Now, there's another topic on